And it reads, "And whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all by Hashem HaMashayachs, giving thanks to the Abanawa Yahweh by Hashem HaMashayachs." Yahweh is who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Because we may go through the whole class and not ever say Jesus Christ, because all of us who are on this conference call already know who Yahweh is. So those who may be coming on for the first time may be like, how come they never say Jesus? Well, we saying it, but we saying it in the ancient Hebrew. We calling him what his mama and daddy possibly called him, Yahweh. Some people say Yahshua, some people say Yahushua, but we say Yahweh. Okay, so that's his name, Yahweh. So it means he saves. His father's name is Yahweh, right? And so we say Yahweh Shai. Shai meaning save. So with furthermore information, we're going to go into the scriptures, and we're going to go to Joshua 24. We start out with Joshua. Yahushua. Because his name is the same way as Yahweh. Joshua, or Yahshua, or Yahweh. Let's go to chapter 24 and verse 14. Now therefore, fear the Most High and serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood and in Egypt, and serve you the Most High. See that? Serve you the Most High God is what some people or some brothers say. Verse 15. And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Most High, choose you this day whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Most High. Now, I brought this verse out because I want you brothers and sisters to know something about being in this truth. About being in this truth, it really controls your household. What I mean by that is, a lot of brothers and sisters own their houses or control their apartments or condominiums or wherever they may live, but everyone is not like that. Some brothers and sisters have other people dwelling in their household. They may have other families dwelling in their household who don't believe in this truth. It may be some brothers or sisters who may have roommates who don't believe in this truth. Okay, so I want to make this clear because a lot of brothers and sisters don't understand this. But one thing about the Most High is he wants your household to be clean. Okay, it's more beneficial for those brothers and sisters who have a whole household controlled by this truth versus those who do not. I want y'all to understand that. No shame to the brothers and sisters who actually have other people dwelling there or renting from them or renting from that person. But you have to understand that your household, the Most High loves a clean house. Okay? When the whole family is on one accord, when the father, the mother, the children are all on one accord, the Most High loves that. And we're going to go into the scriptures. If you go to 1 Corinthians, I wanted to bring this out because the truth is all about teaching and learning. And a lot of people just don't know. For example, we're coming up on the trifecta holidays. Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. So a lot of brothers and sisters who are in this truth dwell with family members who may celebrate these three trifecta holidays. So do you know how much affliction you can catch by being in a household with brothers and sisters or children that celebrate these days? It's a lot of affliction. So that would make those people who are dwelling in their house unclean. They try to make you unclean. They afflict you. They afflict you with their thoughts, with their foods that they're cooking. Okay? And vice versa. Even on the Most High's holy days, like the Sabbath. Here you are fasting. Here you are trying to keep the Sabbath holy, not doing anything to offend your power. But then you got somebody in the next room over there cooking on the Sabbath day, who may be your roommate or family member who don't respect the Most High. that contaminates the whole house, because if you go into that area, guess what? You almost a contributor to that. You see how it tears you up? Not to mention this, but we are in the land of confusion. Don't think the Most High don't know that we're in Babylon. That's what Babylon means. Tongues of confusion, land, think thoughts of confusion. That's why he tells us to come out of her, my people. He's angry. When he says come out of her, he's angry. Come out of her, my people. For she has become the habitation of devils and every foul, hateful bird, because they hate the Most High's understanding and his word. So other people can help defile you on the Most High's holy days. This is important. Really important. A lot of us don't realize that. So a lot of the afflictions that you may catch may not just be the affliction of you sighing and crying about the abominations around you, but there may be some afflictions that come upon you in a different light, just because you're in the house. All right, let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 7. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, and let's go to verse This is a good example right here. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 12. Let's start right here. It says, "But to the rest speak I, not the Most High, if any brother hath a wife that believeth not, and she be pleased to dwell with him, let him not put her away. This is a woman who's not in the truth, but loves her husband so much that she doesn't mind him following the truth, keeping the truth. She's not going to offend him by doing anything around him that's going to go against his truth." Paul is saying, let her stay there. Okay? It says, "And the woman which hath an husband that believeth not, and if he be pleased to dwell with her, let her not leave him." So it's the same thing with the man. If he knows his woman is in the truth, he's not going to afflict her. We was kind of slightly talking about this in the last conference call. I think when we had open conference, brothers and sisters, I'm not going to say no names, but they were talking about something that happened in the past where they were trying to help a sister who was in this type of situation where she was the truth and her husband wasn't. And he was damn near about, excuse my French, he was almost about to hurt this woman because she was in the truth, not doing what he wanted her to do. So you see how this can make you unclean? It says, verse 14, it says, "For the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife." This is that husband or that wife that's dwelling with someone in the truth, that's pleased to do what they're doing. They may not have the same thought process. They may not have the same urge or wants to follow the Most High, but they're trying. They're trying to learn, and they're really trying not to offend their loved one because they know that that person believes it wholeheartedly. So they're really not trying to offend them. Okay, so it says, "And the unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband. Else were your children unclean, but now are they holy." Because this wife, who's not really a believer, but following her husband who is, she's trying to change to make her husband feel comfortable keeping his understanding of the wisdom of the Most High. In retrospect, the same thing with the children. The children, they were in the world, but now they're like, "Mommy, how come we got to do this? Daddy didn't do this." Say she just got married to a new husband. "Daddy didn't do this. Why we got to keep these holidays?" Well, your mom is now making you clean because you're following a righteous man, a man who follows the Most High, a prophet, a holy man, a servant. So when you look at this, even with a divorced couple, for example, you may have a family, a husband and wife who gets a divorce. They might have 5 or 6 children. The husband departs, the wife departs. Now they're in Esau's court. The court says, okay, you have 20% custody of the children. She has 80%. Now the children goes to the father's house maybe 1 or twice a day a week. So some of them days may not fall on the holy days. Some of them may fall on the holy days. So vice versa with the holidays. Now here these children are going back and forth because daddy is a believer, but mommy's not. They come to daddy's house. He's keeping the laws. He's telling them, okay, it's a Sabbath. We're not eating all day until sundown. When they go back to mommy's house and they with her the following weekend, she's saying, what? Daddy said you can't eat. What's wrong with him? You can eat on the Sabbath day. What's the matter with you? Now they're unclean again because they're with mommy. So when they come back to the father on the Sabbath day or a holy day, well, mommy said we don't have to keep these days. I need to cook me some hot dogs. Daddy's like, what's the matter with you? Get away from that stove. He's trying to make them clean again. You understand? So now you have the unclean fighting against the clean because of a thought process. So that's why I said your roommates can make you unclean. They can make the whole hedge around the house disappear. You know what I'm saying? Just to help you really understand. There's a hedge around your house when the whole house, as for me and my house, we shall follow the Most High. The whole hedge is around the house. But when that hedge disappears, it's because somebody in that house is not following the commandments. Somebody's going against the law. Somebody's following another God. Somebody in that house do not believe what the holy man is following. So that contaminates the whole house except for that holy man. So when destruction comes on that house, what's going to happen? The holy man is going to be the only one that comes out of that house unless somebody else is believing what the holy man is following. I just want y'all to understand this because this is why the Most High says, slay utterly old and young before the house of Israel. Slay utterly old and young. That means babies. That means old brothers, old sisters. Okay? The Most High ain't going to discriminate when he bring that destruction back on the earth. That's a prophecy. It's happening now. This is the worst time in history with these laws that were created in this particular government when it comes to the Most High's laws. Whole families are ripped apart from these laws of the land versus the Most High's laws. And so you have only yourself to be accountable for. Sometimes you may not be able to save your wife or your husband or your children. Let's go to Ezekiel 14 and 14. Ezekiel 14 and 14. You can't forget about these laws, man. You can't forget about the holy days coming in and be talking about other stuff. Ezekiel 14 and 14. It says, though these three men, Noah, Daniel, and Job, were in it, they should deliver but their own souls by their righteousness, saith the Most High, the power. Only they will be able to save their own hide. They ain't going to be able to save everybody else. If I cause noisome beasts to pass through the land, and they spoil it, so that it be desolate, that no man may pass through because of the beast, that could be men. Though these three men were in it, as I live, saith the Most High, they shall deliver neither sons nor daughters. See that? Your daughters or your sons may be unclean. Remember Job and his children? They were following the birthday syndrome. They were out there keeping their birthdays on everyone on his day. Job was trying to give sacrifices to the Most High for each and every one of them, so the Most High wouldn't be angry towards them. But yet the Most High still destroyed them because they did not have a hedge around them. It says, they only shall be delivered, but the land shall be desolate. The Most High is only going to save those who believe. He says 2/3 shall die and will be cut off, and 1/3 shall live. He's going to bring them through the fire. This is very serious. Let's go back to 1 Corinthians chapter 7. Now let's read verse 15. But if the unbelieving depart, let him depart. A brother or a sister is not under bondage in such cases, but the Most High have called us to peace. For what knowest thou, O wife, whether thou shalt save thy husband? See, you may not be able to save your husband who's not in the truth, because they're not believing, even though you live with that person. Or how knowest thou, O man, whether thou shalt save thy wife? You may love that woman to death, but if she don't believe, the Most High is just going to take her out. I don't know if y'all remember the Book of Eli movie. There was, in the Book of Eli, there was a movie. Was the movie Book of Eli. When they were in the house, it was the scene where they went to this house, and the man and the woman, older Edomite man and older Edomite woman, they were eating flesh. and they offered them some, and they said, no, never mind, we don't want none. But then the wicked men came back to destroy them, to try to get the Bible. And Denzel had told the older man and the older Edomite woman, he said, we're going to escape, but they're not.
Have you got any more weapons?
Weapons? I'll show you some weapons. Can you shoot a gun?
Of course.
Come on.
We know you're in there. Come on out and nobody needs to get hurt. I'll make it easy. Send out Solara. What's the book?
What are we gonna do?
That's all I want. The book. And the girl.
Hey! You know that voice you heard? Did it say anything about this?
We'll get out alive, both of us.
Did it say anything about this?
We'll get out alive, both of us.
What about us?
Didn't mention you.
What are they doing?
Nothing good.
Because Eli was a believing man. And the woman that was with him believed too. She followed him. But she also believed in that book because he was the example. They got away. They escaped. And the other two died. That's the way the Most High looks at this thing. When that death and destruction come, whether your children believe or not, if they don't believe wholeheartedly, they're going to die. And that's the truth. The Most High don't have time to be sitting up there trying to play games with people. Did he do that with Lot's wife? Did he do that with the children, with the son-in-laws? He just took them out. They didn't want to follow. They died. They were sitting there laughing, twirling their thumbs. He took them out. So, when you look at today's world, when you look at all these religions today, Christianity and Islam, they all believe in the rapture. But when you listen to the scriptures, there is no such thing as a rapture. Listen, everyone got to go through the tribulation. Everybody has to go through it. Everybody got to go through it. Let's go to Matthew chapter 24. Matthew 24. 24 and 25, and it reads, Behold, I have told you before. Wherefore, if they shall say unto you, Behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. For as the lightning cometh out of the east, and sendeth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together. Alright? The carcass is going to be those who don't follow the Most High's word. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, Yahushua. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. All the tribes of the earth going to mourn. Guess what? All these tribes of the earth that's going to mourn are going to be the Israelite tribes. The 12 tribes of Israel that don't believe. They're the ones that are going to be crying. Not those who are keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. Let's read. And it says, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven, with power and great glory, when he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. See that? So he's going to do that after the tribes are mourning. That means the rest of the people are going to be mourning too. That's what you got to understand. So the Most High he's telling us what's going to happen. There is no rapture. The disciples didn't get taken out. They got killed. Didn't nobody come save them. They had to believe in the resurrection. Look at what happened to Esdras. Look at what he said about the future. Let's go to 2nd Esdras. 2nd Esdras chapter 16. Esdras saw the future. He saw the future and he was scared of the future. Just like any of us would be if we saw the future. We'd be scared too. Don't none of us want to go into the future so far where we see ourselves die. This is why Ezra said this. 2nd Ezra chapter 16 verse 17. Woe is me, woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days? Who's going to deliver me? If you saw the future right now, even if it was 1,000 years from now, guess what you would say? Where am I at? Well, what time is it? What day is this? You wouldn't know. You'd be thinking it's right now. You'd be thinking it's going to happen tomorrow. He said, woe is me, woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days? See? This is Esdras. He was afraid. Verse 18. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings. This is talking about future times, now times. The beginning of famine and great death. This happened during the transatlantic slave trade. This happened during the time of 1492. Okay, this was some serious death going on. People were getting killed left and right, arms cut off, necks sliced, fathers stabbed, right, chopped down, hacked into pieces. Great death. The beginning of wars. Fast forwarding, and the power shall stand in fear. Right now. The beginning of evils. Remember what he said in the first Maccabees? How he said, when Alexander the Greek came in with his 4 generals, the beginning of evils began. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. Scourges for amendment. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, talking about us, nor be always mindful of the scourges. We forgot about the scourges of the Most High. That's why those who come into this truth suffer. We suffer because the Most High got to put us through the fire. You should be grateful when you suffer. Believe it or not. I don't like to suffer either. I'm just like y'all. I don't like pain. I don't like to suffer. I don't like to be paranoid. You know, all of us are a little paranoid out here. I don't like to be none of that. But that's part of the suffering. That's part of the scourges, man. You come into this truth, you're going to be scourged. Believe that. Let's go to the book of Tobit 13. And let's see what that scourge is. Tobit 13. Tobit chapter 13 in the Apocrypha, verse 5. And it reads, and he will scourge us for our iniquities, for our evils. He's going to scourge us. He's going to make sure you say, oh, I repent. That's what we say. I repent, Lord, for everything, not knowing the scourges is coming. Yeah, you say you repented. Now you got to deal with the punishments. Yeah, he's going to cleanse you now. And he will scourge us for our iniquities. And he will have mercy again. After you go through the fire, you're going to have a little mercy now. And will gather us out of all nations among whom he have scattered us. Now, who is that rapture for? Who is the us that was scattered to all nations? Who was that? The 12 tribes of Israel. That's who he's coming for. Let's go back to 2nd Esdras chapter 16. There ain't nowhere in here where it says all these heathens are going to be saved. He's coming back for the 12 tribes of Israel. Like HaMashayachs said, I come to save that which is lost. Who is lost? The lost tribes of Israel. That's why they take that verse out of the Bible. When you look for it in Matthew chapter 18 and 11, they totally took that verse out. He came to save that which is lost. Alright. 2nd Esdras. Let's go to 2nd Esdras again. Chapter 16 and verse 21. It reads, behold, victuals shall be so good, cheap upon earth. What is victuals? That's food. Alright, all these sales going on. Buy 2 cheeseburgers for $5. Victuals gonna be good on earth. It's gonna be so cheap. Like, wow, I can get that for what? 2 for what? Good on earth. You got the 99-cent store. You got Walmart. Go on Walmart, you beat all prices. This says, behold, victuals shall be so good and cheap upon the earth, that they, who's the they? Us. Because we're the poor. We're the poor. We're the ones who can't afford nothing. This is that they shall think themselves to be in good case. Like, oh man, all I gotta do is make this amount of money and I'll be okay. I'll just go to Walmart and shop. I'll go to the 99-cent store. And even then shall evils grow upon earth. Sword, famine, and great confusion. What's going on? You go on Walmart, you go in there on a Christmas day. Go in there on Thanksgiving. You're going to be in great confusion. You might even get hit by the sword going in there. People cutting their eyes at you and mad because they standing in line too long. Verse 22. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine. And what's that famine? Of the word. And the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. Remember he said, and you shall depend on your enemies for all things. For hunger, thirst, and want of all things. Verse 23. And the dead shall be cast out as dung. That's happening now. Look at how people getting shot and killed. Look at the all these shootings going on. The dead's been cast out like dung. You see 20 people dead at this particular place. 10 people dead at this place. Down there in Texas, El Paso, Texas. All those Mexicans that was killed down there. They were spread out like dung. They had to cover them up with sheets. And there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted. It's wasted. People are afraid to go outside now. And the cities shall be cast down. What's going on now? There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. What does that mean? How many people you see going to these schools out there picking fruit and vegetables? They got to get immigrants just to come pick the fruit and vegetables. Everybody who go to school in the United States don't even go out there to work in them fields. It says, there shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? People don't want to eat fruit off the trees no more, because they be like, oh, it got bugs in it. It got seeds in there. I don't want that. They'd rather go to Walmart and get seedless grapes, seedless pineapples, or whatever, seedless watermelons. The grapes shall ripe, and who shall tread? Got ripe grapes. People don't even want to eat them. I want to get them Walmart grapes, some candy grapes. Tastes like candy cane. Cotton candy grapes. For all places shall be desolate of men. Alright? And that's the whole thing. You don't see men no more. They don't do manly jobs. Back in the 40s and the 50s, the jobs that men do today were called women jobs. Answering the phones, sitting on their butts. You know, those were women jobs. But now, men don't even do manly jobs. For all places shall be desolate of men. See that? So that one man shall desire to see another and to hear his voice. You don't hear men's voice anymore unless you're doing construction or you working in the fields. Ain't nobody working in the fields. You know, back in those days, if you worked in the field as a man, you would raise your voice because you had to yell to the next guy down the way on the opposite road. Hey! Hey, send me that. I need such and such to bring that to me. You use your manly voice. Now the jobs that we work in today is more of an effeminate voice. You don't hear men's voice at its full measure. The baritone coming out where you got to use it just to yell. If you yell, your baritone gonna come out. But working in the office, you're very timid, very soft. You don't really use your voice. Construction zones too. You got all this high energy going on around you, machines. So you raising your voice. Hey! You know, you can't do that. Working in the office, your voice is just as low as the women's. Okay? You go to football, basketball games now, there's more women at those games now than men are. Okay? Most men don't even have high school educations anymore. So they get the worst jobs. And most of these jobs today, they don't work around other men. They work around a lot of women. For of a city there shall be 10 left, and 2 of the field which shall hide themselves in the thick of the groves, and in the clefts of the rock. That's coming. As in an orchard of olives, upon every tree there are left 3 or 4 olives. Or when as a vineyard is gathered, there are left some clusters of them that diligently seek through a vineyard. And this is twofold too. I mean, this is talking about in the last days, is also talking about now. When you look at today's society, the way it's set up, most men don't want to leave their house. They don't go outside. They don't do yard work anymore. They don't work in their front yard. They don't work in their backyard. You go to the store, all you see is women in the stores. You go to church, ain't nothing but women in the churches. You go to any event, ain't nothing but women there. So when do you see men? The only time you see men is actually on a construction zone or playing football or basketball. But even at that level, you go to these young men who are being raised by their mothers. Who do you think taking them to practice? It's their mothers dropping them off. You might see the coach out there, one man, coaching all these children or these young boys who don't have no father. Their mothers are there. So when do you see men? When do you see real men? Besides homeless men begging on the streets. When do you really see men? All right? And I'm not talking about those henpicked men that are working up in buildings, being managers over a pool of women or a sea of women in these offices. When do you really see men? They're not respected. Real men are not really even respected nowadays. And other men don't even know how to deal with real men. They don't know how to even strike up a conversation and talk about something. So these prophecies are real. These prophecies are living and alive. All right, this is talking about future times too. Even so, in those days there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword. Not many men left. A lot of men are in prison. A lot of men have been kicked out of the house. A lot of men are homeless. A lot of homeless encampments out here now. Huge homeless encampments. Now, a lot of these men or brothers, they go to these homeless encampments because they may have records or warrants. So it's easier to hide amongst the tents. These homeless encampments where they can't get in ran. They can hide out. You know? They ain't got to pay no electric bill. They ain't got to pay no water bill. None of that. There's a good place for them to hide. Verse 32. And the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old. Ain't nobody out there tilling it. And her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travail. No man will work there through. Ain't no man working out there. I drive from where I'm at to go pick up my son sometimes, and there ain't nothing but fields out there. Ain't nobody out there working. If you do see somebody walking, you be wondering, what are you doing out there? Is car stop on them? Just valleys and valleys of stuff. It used to be old farms. The virgin shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. You know, these virgins, they looking for good men. These men, they are whoremongers. And women shall mourn, having no husbands. All right, what's going on now? Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. They got nobody to help them. They go to school, go to college, get out of college. They got to look for another. They got to look for a husband. They got to get on all these dating sites to find a husband. They ain't gonna have no helpers. That's why when you read in Isaiah, it says that 7 women would cleave to one man just to have his name, but they'll bring their own bread in. Verse 34. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed. All right, there's wars every day. Going to work, that's a war in itself. Getting in traffic, that's a war. All right, going into the hood, getting shot down, that's a war. There's all kinds of wars. You know, not getting along with your boss, that's a war. And the husband shall perish of famine. All right, not having a word. Hear now these things and understand them, ye servants of the Most High. Behold, the word of the Most High, receive it. Receive this word. Believe not the gods of whom the Most High spoke. So we got to understand, Most High ain't playing with us. Let's keep reading. Verse 37. Behold, the plagues draw near and are not slacked, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son. Remember what HaMashayachs said? It's like a travailing woman. He said that about prophecy in Matthew 24. It says, within 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains, when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. Even so shall not the plagues be slack. That's why when you see all these things that's happened in the last 10 years, before the last 10 years, we didn't have all these shootings going on, where you saw mass shootings. You didn't see that in 2004, 2005. You didn't see it. But when it started to open up during the time of the economy shutdown, 2008, 2009, it started to grow. And you start hearing about it every week. You start hearing about brothers getting shot by the police every week. Every week there was something going on. And you end up forgetting about what happened the week prior. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon earth. And the world shall mourn, and sorrows shall come upon it on every side. O my people, hear my word, make you ready to the battle. And in those evils, be even as pilgrims upon the earth. What's that battle? Put on that heavenly garment, on that hat, on that mantle, on those shoes. Being ready for the wiles of Satan. Ephesians chapter 6. Let's go there. This is a battle that we're in. This is a fierce battle. We subject to payments every day. We're making payments. Every month we got to make payments. As soon as you pay it, 28 days later, here they come again with their hands out. Can't even rest. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 11. Ephesians 6 and 11. Put on the whole armor of the Most High, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, He's telling you, man, this ain't fleshly sometimes, but against principality, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of the Most High. That's during this day. That ye may be able to withstand in the evil day. That's now. And having done all to stand. Stand therefore having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. See that? You got to take on the field, the shield of faith, wherewith you shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. Satan be throwing them darts. He ain't got to come with a huge sword and slice you down. One dart can cause so many problems for you. One dart. One dart can cause you just be in so much pain. Satan is an assassin. He know how to throw that dart in the right place. Throw it in the middle of your back where you can't reach and grab it out. That's Satan. But you got to be prepared. You got to be ready to fight this evil spirit. Let's go back to 2nd Esdras, chapter 16, verse 41. 2nd Esdras 16 and 41. He that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth, as one that will lose. Just think about that. That everything that you buy, expect to lose it. You can't cherish nothing you buy. Somebody gonna destroy it. Something gonna happen. You know, basically saying, don't worry about it. Everything you buy has no value to the Most High. The only thing that has value is this Bible. Carry this Bible everywhere with you. Everything else, expect to lose it. He that occupieth merchandise, as he that had no profit by it, and he that buildeth, as he that shall not dwell therein. That's what HaMashayachs said. He that loses houses for me, he that loses his wife, he that loses his children, shall gain 100-fold in the kingdom. That's what he's telling Peter. He that soweth as if he should not reap, so also that planteth the vineyard as he that shall not gather the grapes. They that marry as they that shall not get no children. That's what's going on now. You got a lot of people getting married. They don't want children. But Yahushua is telling us, when you get married, say the truth. Keep your mind focused. Keep your mind focused on the truth. Even if you have children, keep your mind focused on the truth. And they that marry not as the widowers. That's what Paul was saying. If you don't get married, if you get married, you still act like you're single. In the truth, not as a whoremonger. When Paul said that, brothers be thinking they can still do things. He said, well, he that is married act as if he's single. No, you're not single. You're married to the Most High, so you got to follow his ways. Verse 45. And therefore they that labor, labor in vain. For strangers shall reap. What does that mean? They that labor, labor in vain. Because you're striving to get people to believe. And a lot of it is in vain. We out here trying to teach people. A lot of these people don't want to hear it. Think about the hundreds of people that may have passed you by, you teaching, that you labored in vain just trying to get them or urging them to come to the truth. For strangers shall reap their fruits and spoil their goods, overthrow their houses. This is all the things that you purchase on this earth. And take their children captives. They take our children's captives as soon as they go to school. You lost your child. For in captivity and famine shall they get children. And they that occupy their merchandise with robbery, you hear that? And they that occupy their merchandise with robbery, the more they deck their cities, their houses, their possessions, and their own persons. All these things that we get is coming from where? Africa, China, all this stuff is stolen, man. The labor that they use to build a lot of these things that we have in front of us, man, they stealing people's blood. It's blood and sweat. They ain't paying them nothing. And we sitting here in America thinking that we rich because we got all this stuff. Somebody may have died over making some of these things that we have in front of us. Verse 48. The more will I be angry with them for their sin, saith the Most High. Like as a whore envieth a right, honest, and virtuous woman, so shall righteous Most High is poetic. So shall righteousness hate iniquity, when she decketh herself, and shall accuse her to her face. When he cometh, that shall defend him, that diligently searcheth out every sin upon earth. When he's talking like this, he's talking about this. Ezekiel 9 and 4. Let's go there. Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 4. It reads, And the Most High said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, the people, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. All these things that we just read in 2nd Esdras, I'm trying to make y'all brothers and sisters feel all these different things that we've been doing here in Babylon. All this destruction, all this sin. And while I'm reading over this stuff, y'all should have been sighing and crying like, man, sighing and crying about all the abominations done in the midst. That's what he's talking about. Verse 5. And to the others he said in mine hearing, Go ye after him through the city, and smite. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. These are the angels. They're going to go through the city and be slaying brothers. Verse 6. Slay utterly old and young, both maids. He said maids. You know, and maids, all they do is what their boss tell them to do. Most maids, they're very sincere. They're very honest to their boss. But the Most High said, slave maids. He also says, and little children. He said, little children, slay them too. And women. You know, women and children go together. Those are the first ones when destruction come. Everybody like, save the women and the children. Okay? But come not near any men or man upon whom is the mark. What's that mark? Isaiah chapter 8. Come not on any man who has that mark. What mark is that? Can you be unclean and have this mark? I don't think so. Isaiah 8, verse 16. Isaiah 8 and 16. Bind up the testimony, seal the law among my disciples. That's that mark. You sealing that mark, which is the law, among my disciples. That's that mark. The law and the testimony. Let's go back. Let's go back to Ezekiel 9 and 6. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark. Angels ain't gonna touch that man or woman. And begin at my sanctuary, the house of Israel. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house, those who know better, those who teach. He came before them first. Came before them first. See that? Let's go back to 2nd Esdras. 2nd Esdras chapter 16, verse 50. So shall righteousness hate iniquity. See that? Sighing and crying. When she decketh herself, and shall accuse herself to her face, when he cometh that shall defend him, that diligently searcheth out every sin upon her. These are the angels. They're going to come and search us out. And therefore be ye not like thereunto, nor to the works thereof. For yet a little iniquity shall be taken away out of the earth. A little bit. And righteousness shall reign among you. Let not the sinner say that he hath not sinned. For the Most High shall burn coals of fire upon his head. This is talking about us, the house of Israel. Which saith before the Most High thy power and his glory, I have not sinned. Behold, the Most High knoweth all the works of men, their imaginations, their thoughts, and their hearts, which spoke but the word, let the earth be made, and it was made. Let the heaven be made, and it was created. Most High is creator of all things. In his word were the stars made, and he knoweth the number of them. Does he say planets? I don't see planets here. I just see stars. Does it say galaxies? I don't see nothing about galaxies here. He searcheth the deep, and the treasures thereof. He hath measured the sea and what it containeth. The Most High, he made every one of these people to worship him. He's content with the earth. He's not content with other beings on other planets. The Most High didn't do that. That's science talking. That's man talking. Ain't no galaxies and all these different planets. All these planets are stars, and that's why they're inhabitable. Verse 58. He hath shut the sea in the midst of the waters, and with his word hath he hanged the earth upon the waters. See that? He's more concerned about his people on this earth. He spreadeth out the heavens like a vault upon the waters hath he founded it. Let's jump to verse 63. Surely he knoweth your inventions. What inventions? All these things that man have created is not for good. It's for man's hurt. And what you think in your hearts, even them that sin and would hide their sin. Therefore hath the Most High exactly searched out all your works, and he will put you all to shame. And when your sins are brought forth, ye shall be ashamed. What is that talking about? Social media. Did y'all know social media was in the Bible? This is social media right here. And when your sins are brought forth, ye shall be ashamed before men. He didn't say before him, he said before men. That's that social media. Don't you know they tap everything? They got data banks based on your search engines. Everything that you search for. They got a whole list of phone numbers that you call all the time. That's nexus to every other number you done call. They know what you do. Men. So I said, you're going to be ashamed because it's going to come. I don't know how they're going to do it, but all the stuff that we're doing is going to come to a head. And everyone's going to know what everybody's doing. They could do that already. You try to buy a house. You put your information in. There's certain information you don't have to give them no more. They just run it. And they bring it right up. Everything that you do is going to be broadcast. Everything. No soul will be able to hide under a rock unless you've been in the ice age and frozen for 1,000 years. There ain't going to be nothing hidden. And your own sins shall be your accusers in that day. What will you do? Or how will you hide your sins before the Most High and his angels? Behold, the Most High himself is the judge. Fear him. Leave off from your sins and forget your iniquities, to meddle no more with them forever. So shall the Most High lead you forth and deliver you from all trouble. For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you, and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision, and in reproach, and trodden underfoot. Alright, that's the heathen. That's why Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5, that's what it's talking about. Who's going to be in derision? All the heathen. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Most High. They're coming after all the brothers and sisters in this truth. You ain't going to be able to hide. You ain't going to be able to hide. That's for sure. When you look at all these things going on in the earth today, I don't know if y'all know about the transgenders. Do y'all know about what's going on with them? A lot of these transgenders, especially these young men and women who become transgenders early in life, they are seeking help to return back to their original sex. That's what's going on right now. A lot of this stuff that I'm talking about is not even being broadcast. A lot of these transgenders are not at rest with their sex changes. And some have already had gender reassignment surgeries. Some people have been identified as the opposite sex for 10 years and want to go back. This is what's going on. They're not talking about it. Believe it or not, this news is at an all-time high, but it's not even being reported. It's not getting the media attention, rather. It's being reported, but it's not getting the media's attention. These people know something ain't right with what they're doing. All right. The scriptures is true. You can't hide that little voice in your heart, man. You can't tell me all these people can't feel what they're doing is wrong. Crazy part, there's no data to reflect the number of people who may be unhappy in their new gender. When you look at these transgenders, there's nothing out there that's saying that any of them are excited about being transgenders. A lot of them are angry. Let's go to Romans. Romans chapter 1. It's a trip because a lot of these people are getting these full gender reassignment surgeries, right? And a lot of them are wishing that they never done it. Romans chapter 1 verse 26. Let's start at 25. It reads, "Who changed the truth of the Most High into a lie, and worship and serve the Creator more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. For this cause, the Most High gave them up unto vile affections." That's when they made that change. They had vile affections. They had a bunch of cheerleaders rooting them on. They watching TV, and that's what they got, the transgender channel, homosexual channel. For even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature. That's what's going on. Even the women. There's a lot of women that are transgenders. And likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the women, burn in their lust one towards another, men with men, working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error which was meet. And even as they did not like to retain the Most High in their knowledge, the Most High gave them over to a reprobate mind, a confused mind. This is Babylon. Babel. To do those things which are not convenient. It's not convenient to be a transgender. That's not convenient. Look at all the work they got to do. They got to get the surgeries. They got to take the pills. They got to act a certain way all the time that's not themselves. They got to pop in a fake face. They got to hide out in the daytime and come out at night like vampires. It's not natural. It's not convenient. You know, I urge everyone who's in that lifestyle to come out of it and repent and come back to the Most High by HaMashayachs, especially those who are Israelites. Verse 29. Being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whispers. That's why when you look at a lot of these porn stars, a lot of them commit suicide. You could do this in the beginning, but at the end, you feel miserable. That reprobate mind kicks in. All these people feel miserable about being the way that they are, not being accepted, not getting enough cheerleading people rooting them on. They don't get enough. They already got a hole in their chest. They're in miserable states. Verse 30, backbiters, haters of the Most High, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents. Their parents didn't raise them up to be that way. I knew a guy whose son was who had became homosexual, and it drove his father to drinking. His father died, drunk himself to death. Literally drunk himself to death because of his only son became a homosexual. He got picked up by the ambulance 3 times. And the 3rd time, he's really trying to take himself out. All right. 31. Without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful, who knowing the judgment of the Most High. They all know the judgment of the Most High. That's why they don't pick up a Bible. People don't pick up a Bible because they know that the Bible's going to tell the truth. They already know that their judgment is destruction and death. They know that. Why do you think they don't pick up a Bible? Speaking on Fruitvale, people that were homosexual would cross the street and go all the way on the other side if they was homosexual, just to avoid us. They will run by us. They will run by us, man, because they didn't want us to call them out. But they don't feel comfortable in themselves. All we're just going to do is tell them to repent, keep the laws. We ain't trying to hurt them. We try to change them, try to get them to change back to their natural state. Verse 32. who knowing the judgment of the Most High, that they which commit such things are worthy of death. It says, not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. There's no such thing as a gay gene. You ever heard that before? Some people say, well, he was born that way. There's no such thing as a gay gene. The Most High don't make mistakes. All right? The Most High didn't make transgenders. Show me in the Bible where he made a transgender. He didn't make them. Man did. Man made sodomites. Everything that man makes is evil. Look at what the Most High say about men. Ecclesiastes. Excuse me. The book of Ecclesiastes. 7 verse 29. Ecclesiastes chapter 7 verse 29. It says, Lo, this only have I found, that the Most High have made man upright, but they have sought out many inventions. He made us upright. All men, he made them upright. But they've sought out what? Many inventions. Things that hurt them. Social media. Videos that cater to them. Okay? Images that cater to them. You see a lot of our women, our young women, they be looking through magazines. What they be looking through magazines? Looking at how this woman got her hair. Look at how this woman put makeup on her face. Those are inventions, man. It's taking away the modesty of how our women should be. Because they want to be like this, they want to be like that person, they want to be like this person. An image, there's an image that comes along with that. Let's go to Genesis chapter 1. Genesis chapter 1 verse 27. Genesis 1 and 27. It says, so the Most High created man in his own image. He didn't make transgenders. That don't look like the Most High. He says, so the Most High created man in his own image. In the image of the Most High created he him. Male and female created he them. Two separate entities. There's a man with man organs and a woman with woman organs. Not the two combined. Let's go to Proverbs. Proverbs chapter 8. Proverbs chapter 8 verse 33. Scriptures read, hear instructions and be wise, and refuse it not. Blessed is the man that heareth me, watching daily at my gates. Checking out the leaders of Israel, right? Waiting at the post of my doors. For whoso findeth me, findeth life. What did Yahushua says? Knock on the door and the door shall open. That's standing at the post of the door. We're waiting at that door. For whoso findeth me, findeth life, and shall obtain favor of the Most High. But he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul. All they that hate me love death. See? Ain't no transgender in this world. Most High will take you out. I'm sure y'all heard about the fires going on. I told y'all, every time the Most High has holy weeks, holy months, something jumps off. Never fails. These fires are always here. Last year they came around the same time and destroyed man's properties and houses and took a lot of people out. And that's what's going on today. Same thing. Most High is bringing the judgment on this place. All right. What's another big deal? Another big deal is in Japan. I think actually it was in China. Did y'all see that so-called meteor or star that went over China, lit up the whole sky at night? That happened. Well, the same thing happened when that tsunami hit years ago. Before that tsunami and that earthquake came, there was a huge meteor or a star that went over that place. I like to say chariot. Went over that place. Yeah, when it went over that place, that tsunami hit, took out a lot of people, destroyed their economy. So the Most High sends messages to not only the saints, but to all other nations that he will destroy the earth for the ignorance of him. You know? Do y'all think that was a star or a meteor? I mean, the Most High said at the end, in the last days, he's going to send stars that's going to fall on earth. He didn't say meteors. He said stars. All right? That's why when we read that scripture in Matthew chapter 24, it says, during the day of tribulation, he will visit the earth. Let's go to Revelation 7. Revelation chapter 7. The good thing about the Most High, as he explains when he's coming back, was that these wars and rumors of wars ain't going to jump off until he seals the saints. Revelation 7:1. And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power. So those winds, if y'all don't know, if you go into Daniel chapter 7, it says that those winds are different countries or different kingdoms. All right? That's what those 4 winds are. Different kingdoms or militaries. And it says, and I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our Lord in their foreheads. What's that seal? The law, statutes, commandments, the belief in HaMashayachs, the testimony. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there was sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. So as you can see, the Most High is sealing his people, and he's not going to let any wars come upon this earth until we're sealed. So don't be afraid when they talk about, oh, we're going to war, such and such is going to war. These are all rumors of war. 2 missiles? You mean Iran shot? They had two missiles hit the tankers and blow up. Just 2 missiles. Wasn't all out war. Now you got the Saudis, the Saudi king or Ishmael or the prince of Saudi Arabia. He's getting all afraid now because of those 2 missiles hit those tankers. They're all worried about their oil. All their oil is being released into the Red Sea and going down into the ocean again where it belongs. They're all scared over there. They're all running scared. And now you got the United States pulling troops out of Syria and sending them right down into Saudi Arabia. Oh, we're going to pull troops out. They turn around and send them right back in. It's a vortex. You ain't never coming out of there. People be getting all excited. Oh, they pulling troops. They ain't never coming out of the Middle East ever until the Most High sends his angels back on earth. They going to stay there. Who you think got to fight? Yahushua. Them troops is staying there. They ain't coming out. Meanwhile, you got China and Russia stockpiling gold. China stockpiled, I think it was like 100 tons of gold into their reserve. And then Russia, I think theirs was twice as much as that. So they all stocking their gold up for a reason in their small central banks. So I mean, these are the things that are coming on the earth. Be ready and get ready. Most High is bringing that judgment on this place. You know, it's for a good cause. Let's go to Psalms chapter 2 and 8. The book of Psalms, chapter 2 and verse 8. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. What's the uttermost parts of the earth? Right from where we are. China and Russia. Japan. We're going to get all of that stuff back when we live in Jerusalem again for 1,000 years. Alright? So, get ready. Most High setting everything up. Everything's being set up for a reason. They're trying to destroy the American dollar. That's what Russia and China is trying to do. But they don't know that a higher power is coming. I got to read one last verse because it is important. Revelation chapter 18. Revelation 18, and we'll read 1 to 4. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. Like them stars. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils. See that? And the hold of every foul spirit. So, when we call people devils, they get mad. They act like it's a cuss word or something. But the Most High said Babylon is full of devils. It says, and the hold of every foul spirit. What's the hold? Meaning they holding on to Israel. They won't release us. They causing problems. And the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Meaning they getting ready to get released too. All these new inventions and stuff. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Open up your cell phone and look at all the new apps on your cell phone. You ever do that? You see all those merchants? Those are merchants. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, meaning with wickedness. She rewarded us with wickedness since we've been here, meaning she going to be rewarded with wickedness. And double unto her double according to her works. In the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. See that? The Most High is going to destroy this place, and it's going to be double upon double, bringing destruction on this place. So I just want you brothers and sisters to understand that we got to be prepared. We got to pay attention to what's going on these times. All this stuff is geared up for us, and all this tribulation coming on the earth is because of our unbelief and our lack of faith and us not believing in the word. And so with that, I'm going to say Shalom. Are there any questions, statements, or comments?
One question.
Go on, sis. Shalom.
So, on the Sabbath, we don't eat all day, and then we eat after sundown?
No, you can eat. You just can't cook. You can fast on the Sabbath, but you can eat too. Okay, some brothers and sisters, I like to fast. Because I figured I eat 6 days out the week all the time, so I figure I could fast on one day. Why not it be on the Most High's day while I'm praying?
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I know I have to eat some of this because I've got that sugar crap going on.
God, yeah, don't destroy your body because you're on medication by not eating. The last thing we want you to be is in some kind of pickled state where you got to go to the hospital.
We don't want to go there. I don't trust none of them people. They did enough damage to this body.
I heard that.
I don't want to go back.
I know.
But I just wanted to be absolute because last time, one of the evenings of Sabbath, he was trying to eat. He said, I'm getting ready to eat. I'm hungry.
Oh, yeah.
So I was just trying to, see, it's still early there, but it's, 12 o'clock here in a few seconds?
God.
There's no way that I'll be trying to eat anything and then that's a no-no.
God.
Yeah. But that's one of the things I wanted to know.
Okay.
I want to make sure I'm doing everything that's right,
Yeah.
to the best of my ability.
All we can do is try to do our best, because we are in Babylon. This place, it helps you do wrong. It never helps you do right. Just think about that. This place never helps you do right. It always helps you do wrong.
This is the word of the Lord of hosts. I took you from the pastures and from following the sheep to be prince over my people Israel. I have been with you wherever you have gone and have destroyed all the enemies in your path. I will make you a great name among the great ones of the earth. I will assign a place for my people in Israel. There I will plant them, and they shall dwell in their own land.